our latest story about the WGA. This is a follow-up story to the open letter to the WGA, which was written by a Writers Guild member. So Writers Guild member wrote an open letter talking about how things have changed because of DEI. And the story is on Film Threat. If you don't see it, just search WGA and you will find it.
You'll find both articles.
You'll find, well, we link to the open letter. I'm going to make this a little larger so I can read it. I can read some of it. I just wrote an intro to put it all into context. And you probably heard this, but this was a quick intro to what you're about to read. And I'll just start. The only constant in entertainment is change. Industry veterans understand that dramatic pivots in the way that Hollywood does business are the only thing that can be counted upon. But recent shifts have veteran writers concerned. Part of this has to do with the WGA's requirements that new members check boxes to identify themselves so that this data may be used in the hiring process. It won't be used for any sort of prejudice, will it? A recent open letter to Writers Guild of America, written by a WGA member, is saying out loud what so many in the industry fear to say, and that is that radical voices have taken hold in Hollywood and are more concerned with pushing ideology and messaging rather than entertaining an audience. As a result, the money generated by the industry has seen a remarkably noticeable drop. The rise of the term flopbuster in response to so many films like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny underperforming at the box office seems to be directly related to mainstream audiences' wholesale rejection of the over messaging they see hijacking entertainment. Not to mention the destruction of intellectual property that normally performed successfully with fans. Box office receipts for films like The Marvels, among others, have writers questioning the wisdom of pushing identity, the message, over storytelling with a broad appeal. The mainstream industry trades have yet to weigh in on this open letter. And let me just say this, quick aside. These people are contacting Film Threat. We're not part of this. Okay. This is anything that we're not an industry. We review indie films and mainstream Hollywood movies. That's Film Threat. We're mainly reviews driven. We interview filmmakers, yes, and we interview people that are interesting, but we're not news and we're not a trade. But somehow we have, this has kind of fallen in our lap because the trades will not talk about this. They will not write about it. They will not write about it because the same people that are a part of this also work at the trades. Who am I talking about? Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, IndieWire, all of them. Not one has taken up this mantle. Moving on. However, the story has resulted in a flood of emails sent to Film Threat. These correspondences paint a picture of an industry where fear of speaking out could result in one being blacklisted as problematic. You must adhere to this new ideology or face the prospect of unemployment forever. A phrase we heard over and over again is this: male and pale is stale. If one were to reword this statement in another way, may result in accusations of racism. I always think that to myself, like when I see someone like say, is this racist? And I just replace another group, like I play a little Mad Libs. I play a little racist Mad Libs. Is this racist? Replace a word. And if it just, you just sort of sound like, yeah, that sounds like at the very least prejudice. But this view is widely accepted all over Hollywood like a mantra. Male and pale is stale is driving the types of films and TV shows that get made. What industry outsiders may not understand is that Hollywood is a freelance business where work is scarce. And in the current day, one must constantly demonstrate allegiance to certain ideals or face the prospect of never working. The fear is palpable and a dominant force hanging over the heads of those who wish to simply make a living working in entertainment. I'm not talking about actors or even writers at this point. I'm talking about gaffers and people who just talking about art directors, talking about production designers. I'm talking about storyboard artists, because those are all the types of people that reached out to me in addition to working writers or previously working writers. These emails sent to Film Threat have been edited to protect the identities of those who wish to speak out, all of which requested to remain anonymous. The letters came from Emmy and Oscar nominated talents working at various levels in the industry. Additionally, letters that were repetitive or simply echoed points already stated have been left out. I mean, we had to like cut chunks, a lot of stuff and other letters because like we can only put so much. And actually, I think it's pretty long. All right. What follows are emails sent to Film Threat in response to the open letter. Draw whatever conclusions you wish, but one thing is certain: Hollywood is changing, and many feel it may not be for the best. See, I'm logged into my account here, which is why the ads aren't popping up.
Yeah. Hey, let me just say one thing. If you're a white male WGA member and you're paying dues to the WGA, you are paying dues to an organization that will not advocate for you.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Moving on. I'm not going to go through, I'm going to go through the highlights of some of these, and we're going to leave a link in the description with this video so you can read them all because it's long. But we got, it's very complicated. People coming at it from different, I mean, the sort of end of the article is like, production designers, art directors, people from other crafts, including publishing and the music industry. This has affected everything. But here's a letter here. Just wants to remain anonymous. Number one, writers hired on comic book shows are told it's a positive that they are unfamiliar with the original comic book and not a fan of the existing IP because they want to do a quote modern take on the material relevant to today. Two, writers are asked, why the story today? How is it relevant politically today to the existing narrative they're pushing on our culture? And B, why are you the person to tell it? Because I have talent and I wrote it is not a valid answer. What a valid answer is, because I'm a member of this aggrieved group or class, and only we can tell our own story. This leads to a heads we win, tails you lose, where if you don't include diverse characters, you're dinged for having an all-white, non-diverse cast, regardless of the time or place or this of the story or historical accuracy. And if you have a diverse cast, I noticed a typo there. It should say cast, not case. Race and gender, then you are guilty of cultural appropriation. This means that unless you are, for example, African-American, you are not allowed to tell a story about an African-American character or disabled or LGBTQ+. Unless you are that specific subgroup, you can't write it. How am I supposed to write a movie about bugs? Maybe I'm writing A Bug's Life 5. Did they make A Bug's Life 2? I'm sure they did. Yeah, interesting.
Let me look up the writers of Echo for a moment.
There's a bias towards, this is number 4. There's a bias toward the 2 for or 3 for hire. Being gay, for example, isn't enough now. You have to be gay / African-American, Latinx, undocumented, unhoused, differently abled. Then on the DEI scorecard, you have a 2X or 3X positive score for the hire. And number 5, to give you an idea of how competitive things are, for only murders in the building, there was word a staff position was available. This is the lowest rung writing position. They received 450 scripts as writing samples for this one job. A manager told me these jobs would typically go to a BIPOC writer, but the show decided not to hire anyone or go in another direction. There's another typo here. The WGA has this is the last thing for this. The WGA has a diversity program where the guild pays for the diversity hire's salary. Did you know this? Most of these writers aren't picked up after the free ride expires. Many of these writers hired only for diversity purposes feel obligated to push stories that reflect the specific box they checked. So a transgender writer will be pitching stories exclusively about that experience. Interesting.
There's a word for that. There's a word for all that. It's tokenism.
All I see are typos. I hate this. I hate when I read. Alan, was this not checked through our normal editors? Did anyone?
I believe we were rushing it.
Huh?
we were rushing it because you were about to go on.
Oh, what was I doing?
So, yeah, it was supposed to go on one of the shows you were on, and then it was supposed to go on yesterday for real.
We should just look.
Yeah,
we should have exclusive first dibs on our own stories.
Yeah.
Why don't we do this?
Yeah.
We gotta be smart, Alan. We gotta be smart, not like everybody says.
Yeah, believe me, because when I went through it, there were a lot. I was catching.
Were there more typos? All I see is
oh, you have no idea.
Well, thank you for what you corrected, but you missed a few. But that's okay.
Yeah, I know.
That's normal.
Of the 100 I cut, yes, I missed it.
The system encourages, there's more to this, so please read the whole thing. The system encourages cry bullies, those who complain of oppression as a means of moving up the ladder. This creates an incentive system for complaining about slights, perceived slights, or microaggressions. And once these are documented by HR, some corrective action must be taken. Training, reprimand, and the person who complained now can't be fired, or it would be retaliatory. Writers' rooms have historically been a freewheeling place for spitballing ideas and jokes. Now folks are on eggshells for fear of offending DEI standards, which are forever shifting. The Oscar diversity standards have made a number of films ineligible to qualify for Best Picture. No glaring omissions this year, but a film such as Dunkirk would not be eligible as there are too many white people in it. I'm going to go. There's so much else here. If you click through a story about DEI being weaponized, that's from a WGA writer. There's other guilds. This is where we get into the Jedi training. This comes from the ADG, which is the Art Directors Guild. Art Directors Guild also encompasses like other types of crafts, like Art Directors Guild is anything involved art direction on its film or TV show. Like my understanding is it's production design, it's storyboard, it's anything in that. So there's an Art Directors Guild, and they have what they call, this is a screenshot from a newsletter, and everyone is encouraged. And by encouraged, I mean like, did you not fill out the form yet? I mean, there are people being harassed. Like, fill this out. It's called Jedi training. There's all sorts of times you can sign up to do it. It's justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion trainings. And it's a little reminder, says, remember to put one of our upcoming Jedi trainings into your schedule. We encourage every ADG 800 member to take advantage of the training, which will be conducted through our partnership with Elevate Inclusion, open to all members in good standing. Here's the thing. There's a threat, and I just got a letter this morning, where it's threatened that if you don't do this, you're not eligible for employment. You must do this training. It is not.
When you fill the forms out, identifying who you are, you will no longer be eligible for employment.
Well, all I can say is this: is there a thing, check all? Can you? What if, for example, you are mixed race? Do you check more than one box? What if you're Afro Latino? Which is a thing. Why? How? All right. You may post in the comments. We are approving any comments that look, no, please.
People are disagreeing in the comments.
That's fine. Yeah, please. Yeah. So just respectfully debate, please. But if you're going to be anything, we keep the line. We'd like to have a conversation that is, look, here's one here. Female, gay, and brown brings sales down. Okay, while I don't agree with that, someone is taking that with humor. Fine, that, it's not overt there. But this story, it goes on. There's more to it. There's other industries, people from the publishing and other film unions, this self-identification surveys and member census and Jedi training. All of this is covered in here. So please read the story. I want to know what you think. So let's go to and we're going to continue to cover this. I already have enough material for a part 2. In 2 days of this being out, I have enough letters where I could do a part 2 that's longer than this. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, folks.
Well,
It's
let
just
me tell you, the D files, the D files is going to be delayed a week because there are certain things that have to deal with this that have come to light, and I need an extra week to kind of process all this new information I got. But it will show basically how this happened and the ramifications of this, because what's happening at the WGA has completely happened in animation, in the entire animation industry in the United States.
Yeah, it's really disheartening to see. And the stories, the thing is, we've cut a lot out. We cut a lot out because we're trying to protect the identities of the people who are coming forward, because they trust us. They don't trust the trade publications that cover the industry. They're trusting Film Thread at this point, which, you know, obviously we're not going to give up anyone's identity, but I feel like this isn't like Film Thread's mission. Our mission is, hey, we're an indie film thing and we kind of have fun poking fun at Hollywood. I didn't want to have to do this, but here we are.
Let me see. Yeah, Chris and Alan, thank you for bringing attention to this when nobody else will. You know, I'm hearing that a lot. I was just talking to someone today, and I was just like, you know, you guys are the only ones who are actually actively talking about this.
Well, I think it's like, the thing is, this is like, I do think that a lot of people like Gary Beekler, whatnot, at Nerdrotic kind of set the stage for this. Was like, he was the canary in the coal mine saying, hey, this stuff is happening. It feels weird. Something's weird about these movies. He was talking about this way back in like 2018.
Yeah.
And so, you know, 5 years ago was talking about this stuff. But now it's like, this is people in the industry now discussing it.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to someone, and we the conclusion after our conversation was animation is lost, is completely lost. You can't fix animation unless you tear the whole thing down, burn it, and then start over again.
I did see the new trailer for Minions 4, and it looked pretty good. It just looks like dumb fun.
But that's you know, that's I forget the guy's name, but that's not in France.
It's Illumination Studios, and it's just they're distributed by Universal.
Yeah, but they're out in France, and they, you know, it's you know, the industry in America is gone, and we're losing it slowly but surely. Comic books is gone. Soon the movies will be soon any popular movie is going to be gone.